it's not recording.
We're live.
Hello, welcome to episode 7.
We're going to try and remember we're live at the end.
Yeah, we've been really weird at the end of other lives. So if you want to fast forward, no, don't do that. Actually, don't do that. Okay, ready?
Yeah, ready as I'll ever be.
All right, here we go. Talk about just being led by your intuition. Okay. Hello, we're back another week.
Episode 7 of the Authentic Souls podcast. I'm Danielle Churchill.
And I'm Savannah Nicholson.
We were just laughing because we always go live on YouTube to film these. I think we mentioned that before. And we always forget by the end that we're being filmed. Mm-hmm. And if you just want a good laugh and you want to go to our YouTube and just like fast forward to the last, I'd say 30 seconds to a minute of each episode, we always inevitably forget that we are being filmed. And last week I was stretching and being oh my gosh, what I said was so embarrassing. And I just look up and we're still filming.
Just talking about how sweaty I am. Yeah, really, really authentic content.
The beauty of being live.
Yeah. So today we're going to try and be normal humans.
Mm-hmm. We're going to be super professional
all the way through.
We're going to remember that YouTube, this is all being documented.
And the recording of this podcast. Super professional. Well, how are you, Danielle? How was your week last week?
Oh, I can't wait to tell everyone about my week because it was a bit of a shit show, but it's makes for good comedy.
Makes for good content. The universe said, you have a podcast now. We need to give you something to talk about.
We need to throw a bunch of stuff at you just so you can make people laugh.
Yeah, and make people laugh. And then also, how do you find the lesson in it all? Mm-hmm. That's what we were discussing earlier. Is okay, we're going to share our week and the uncomfortable moments in it. And then I think that's how you make it not just complaining, even though I think that's how, there's something cathartic to just venting to someone else about your week. And I think a lot of people do it on their podcast, but we're hoping to create some kind of spin at the end.
Oh yeah, this is just going to go
lesson in it all. So get ready, folks.
We're about to inspire you.
Danielle's story is a little more intense. So if you're really looking for a wild ride, here we go. Buckle up. But so I guess where I left off was I was going to the mountains. We were talking about that and how it's supposed to be really hot. And that's what my boyfriend wanted to do for his birthday. And then, I got up there. It was super duper hot, 100 plus. And he pulled out a swamp cooler.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain to anyone who doesn't know what a swamp cooler is? Because I recently just did not know what that was.
Did you look it up?
Well, once.
Well, okay. Well,
yeah, just because of you. But when you're oh, we have a swamp cooler, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, so I didn't know what it was either. See, that's the thing. Dylan will teach me these rural country men things. I shouldn't say that. Women use them too. But, just he has an interest in these things and I just don't. Anyway, so we were at the cabin, no AC. He pulls out this, what did I call it? Swamp cooler from the closet and says we have to go get ice to fill it up, ice and water. And then this one's actually from, I would say the 80s or 90s. And there's hay in the back of it. And
what does the hay do?
The hay sucks up the water in the ice and then keeps it cold and moist behind the fan. And then,
so then it shoots out hay air at you. Cold hay air.
Yeah. So I don't know what they use in the newer ones.
Yeah.
It's still hay.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's the other thing. I made a TikTok about this. And if you've been listening to the past episodes, we talk about our content and
how we're trying to go viral every week.
That journey. So I had my first viral video of my TikTok career, and
it's not what you think it'd be about. We make videos about intuition,
inspirational
about energy
content,
management. And what was this about?
This was about a swamp cooler, and my boyfriend was starring in it. And I basically took the shittiest. It was so dark and dim in the room in the house, and I literally was I knew what audio I wanted to use, so specifically.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to talk about it because I want you to go watch it. How
many views is it at now?
We're at 89.3 thousand views, and it's climbing every day. So we'll see where it tapers off, where it plateaus. It's plateaued already, but yeah. So anyway, that was hilarious watching that happen. I filmed it and just like on a whim, just in the moment as he was filling it with ice, and it was super hot. And he just looks up with me with this like face of dread because it's so hot, and we finally like have a way to cool down. The swamp cooler works fantastic. I have to say that. So
good to know. Yeah.
So I was able to like have this new experience in the mountains because I was kind of fearful and anxious going up there about like, oh, I'm gonna have, the experience like when Danielle and I went up and we were just not prepared. We did not have the swamp cooler going, and it was way too hot, and I got sick, and just so many things. So being able to go up there and have like a nice weekend where it was
positive
basically
experience.
to have a positive experience to replace that negative one with. But so I had my first piece of viral content, and it was about a swamp cooler, and I gained significant, I haven't done the math yet, but like a significant amount of followers for TikTok. Like, and I was like under 100, and now I'm like over 100, so it's not even that big of a deal, but they're all men. They're all men in
looking for more swamp cooler content
in rural probably not even California, rural America.
Yeah.
And
it's not quite our target demographic that we're going for.
Not really what I
quite.
thought would catch the masses. But now I'm realizing people need more swamp cooler content. I don't know what else I would create. And I don't feel inspired to
cater to the men of your following.
And I've continued to post on TikTok, and none of my videos are doing as well as that one. And I'm like, cool. I literally am like, asking my boyfriend, I'm like, is this good? Like, you would tell me if this isn't good. He's like, no, that's good. Like, I don't know. It's just the algorithm. I don't know. And I'm like, okay.
Damn algorithm.
I told you about how I posted another video to my Instagram, and it was blurry. But like I posted it and it got like 500 views in like 10 minutes, and it was still going. And I was like, oh, and when it does that on Instagram Reels, you just gotta like let it go for how long you think, like half a day.
Yeah.
And then it peaks. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I uploaded it. It was blurry, and my OCD, I shouldn't use that word, but like my just internal perfectionism was like, oh, it's blurry, I have to delete it. So I deleted it, and I was like, I'll repost it later. So I reposted it a little bit later. It barely got any views. And I was like, erg. And then yesterday I was on Reels. Some girl had like 3 million views on the blurriest fucking video.
That blows my mind. I'm so picky about that. Like, if it's not at least a little bit clearer,
wasn't good,
I don't want to watch it. Yeah.
I feel, and I only say that because Danielle and I look at content with such like critical eyes, since we're trying to do it good, you guys, for everyone.
But maybe we need to stop trying, because you stopped trying, and look at what happened with you, Miss Viral Queen.
Swamp cool. Okay. Stop trying.
We're gonna stop trying, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
But that's like that's not a part of us. Like, we have to try. That's just who we are.
Yeah.
We have to try to be the best at whatever we do. Give 110%.
Because even with that one, I still tried on but see that, and so I've been like thinking about this, like I knew in my core, like when the moment was happening, I was like, that specific audio will tie to this so well that it's going to be like TikTok humor.
Yeah.
It was the perfect TikTok humor thing. I would say the audio, but I can't fully remember it.
It's basically like we in the ghetto.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, and the conversations and like I don't want to say fights, but like the confrontations that were going down in the comments. Oh yeah, people.
How lit was the comment section?
Well, okay, so I kind of knew I would take some flack for using a sound that used the word ghetto, but people came into my defense and were like, that has nothing to do with race. Like that has to do with demographic and like where you live. And
and you're living in the middle of nowhere without AC.
Literally, like this is like rural California.
Yeah.
Like most people live in trailers and are usually like, I don't know. If you're living up there,
you're just not a part of society. Things are just a little bit different. Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
So
well,
anyway,
I thought it was fucking hilarious. You guys should go watch it.
Thank you. I thought it was funny too. We can't censor ourselves too much, especially when it's comedy.
This is a joke.
Yeah. And
we can't take ourselves too seriously all the time.
Exactly.
But also watch our other videos because we could use some views on those.
Oh my God. So anyway, so I learned a lot. And if I didn't go to the mountains, I wouldn't have taken that video.
Yeah.
So I had to go.
And you would not have replaced a negative experience with a positive experience.
Yeah. So I got a little reward. The universe was like, thanks for making yourself a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Here's a little nugget.
Well, I'm still waiting for my reward from the past week. Yeah. So I'm hoping that's, on its way.
Yeah. What's your little nugget going to be?
I don't know. It's okay. I'm being patient.
Yeah. It's going to be just so much sweeter, whatever it is.
Well,
and it's okay. So to transition into Danielle's side, it's a good thing I was in the mountains with Dylan. It's a good thing we were adventurous and we left, because it would have been a little more chaotic down here in
you
Santa
would have
Cruz.
not enjoyed your time here, let me tell you.
So that's what Dylan was reminding me, was like, you should be grateful you're here, because what's going on there, you would not be a happy camper. So
talk about living in the ghetto.
Oh my God! Wow, great transition, Danielle. Please take the microphone.
So I'll just start with like a little quick introduction to the story. So last week, I think I was like feeling myself. I was like, I'm feeling like my Sagittarius self again.
Oh yeah.
I'm about to go out into the world. I'm ready. I said I wasn't ready.
I think you said that in the podcast, right? You like stated it.
I think I literally said that last week, or the week before, whenever we recorded. And so Sean and I were like, okay, everyone's gone. We have the house to ourselves. Like, let's get dressed up and go get drinks and dinner. Like, we haven't done that in so long. How fun. So we go to one of our favorite restaurants in Santa Cruz, get all dressed up. We like to treat ourselves to cocktails, have a few too many. We get a ride from like, this restaurant has its own like old school taxi that you can take, so you like can drink and you don't have to worry about getting yourself home. So we were just like feeling ourselves, feeling so good, like treated ourselves. Anyway, I wake up the next morning with a cold. So the week wasn't off to a good start. That was pretty shitty. My immune system is obviously struggling. It's around like more than like 3 people, and it's like, oh my God, I can't handle this. So I started out by being sick. No fun. And I want to say, was it the day after? I think it was the day after. Sean noticed a leak in our water heater. And it was like fairly significant, enough that he had to turn off the water in the house. And it's like, oh, okay, that's annoying, but like I can do like an afternoon without water. Like it'll be totally fine. So an afternoon turns into, how many days was it? I want to say 4 or 5 days without water in the house.
Yeah, we were gone from Friday we came back Wednesday. Yeah, we came back Wednesday. So
it was a few days. I don't remember. It's all blur.
I think it started Sunday, right?
Is that,
yeah. So you went Sunday, to dinner. Then Friday you had night. People over Saturday.
Yeah. So it was probably Sunday, Monday.
Oh, pause. Did anyone watch the fight? Anyone watch the MMA fight? I'm Joe Rogan. I'm kidding. UFC. I didn't watch it, but Danielle did.
We had a little UFC barbecue.
Well, you don't know. Maybe it was from the UFC barbecue that you got sick.
No, I woke up the next morning with a sore throat, and I thought it was because when I drink, I tend to yell when I think I'm
wanted to talk about the UFC fight and the ankle break.
Okay. I know. I was just saying that I already was feeling symptoms, but I thought it was because when I drink, I have a tendency to yell. So I had a scratchy throat the next morning, and I was like, oh, it's just because I was drinking and I was yelling. And so then I continued on with my weekend, and then it turned on to like full-blown sickness.
Oh, because I forget. I was thinking that you went to dinner after that.
No.
That you went to dinner before.
I'm just trying to get the timeline right.
So maybe you got someone else sick at this party, Danielle. I'm kidding. I'm just trying
I really hope not.
Sorry. I'm just being dramatic.
I really hope not. Anyway, and then we watched the fight, and that was a shit show, and I got to watch a man break his ankle.
Oh, that was fascinating. When you told me that, I was like, another reason why I was grateful I wasn't here, because what?
But also, I'm not gonna lie, I got really into UFC because it's just a bunch of like really attractive men like tackling each other. Like I'm low-key really into it.
It sounds kind of which I say this with like zero judgment or shame, and I'm like, hell yeah, but it sounds a little gay. But I'm like,
it kind of is, but they're just like all super muscly and like just like fit, you know, and it's kind of fun to watch. So
Danielle's like, yeah, babe, I'll
I'm
watch
like,
UFC
let's watch
with you.
the fight. How fun. I'll be one of the boys.
Until someone breaks his ankle in half.
But then that was
breaks his foot off
gnarly.
right at the ankle.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
What? I'm so grateful I didn't see that, but also fascinated how someone can be doing something so aggressive that they snap their ankle.
Yeah. And then he was on the ground and Joe Rogan started interviewing him, and you could not understand a single word he's saying because he's super Irish and he has like a really thick accent. So he's just yelling like, I cannot understand a single word.
Wait, the fighter's Irish?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And finally someone picks up at the end. He's yelling at the other fighter and he's like, your wife is in my DMs. And I just thought it was funny.
Wait,
shit.
yeah. And then you guys were like, that's actually a thing.
Yeah, I guess she actually was for some reason. Maybe she like tagged him in something. I don't know the details.
Yeah, Sean was saying that like the guy screenshotted the wife requesting to DM him. So
I thought he was just being a dick and was just saying that.
You can't see what the message says, but you
Yeah.
can see that this man's wife is like, anyway, drama.
That's the UFC
Danielle
drama.
is all up in the UFC drama now. So
I am.
we're
So
actually a
anyone needs
UFC
updates.
podcast now. Swamp Cooler and UFC.
Yeah, who are we? What are we turning into?
I don't know.
You never know what's going to resonate with the people, you know. We come out here with all this
If you have
inspirational content. We come out here with, you know, talking about energy and chakras, and that's not what people want to hear.
Well, one thing we were talking about before the podcast too was like, this is like, because we were talking about like, what are we going to talk about other than like all the shit storm of life that hit us in the face this week, but like in a good way, you know, like it's not all negative because
you just gotta laugh.
You just got that was the biggest lesson.
That was my biggest lesson.
Like, you gotta laugh, and you need to get back to your story. We can't talk about the lessons yet because you're not even tip of the iceberg. We haven't even, is that the right saying?
Yeah, and I'll keep it quick.
We haven't even hit the iceberg. I don't know what the saying is. If this is the Titanic.
We're not Titanic yet.
Well, if this is the Titanic, okay.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be comparing ourselves to the Titanic because that's too negative. All right.
I feel like we're being very controversial today, but that's okay.
Controversial?
I'm kidding. Anyway, so I'll keep it quick. I won't go too into detail, but basically we were out of water in our entire house for quite a few days. Sean kept trying to patch the hole, and we would be like, oh my gosh, it's going to work this time. And it would just inevitably start dripping again. The first day that he was like, don't worry, like I have it all patched up. Like we're going to have water tonight. We're going to be able to shower and shit and all the important things.
Shower and shit. When I was texting her when she was telling me about this, I was like, whatever you need to do to get it to a point where I can shower and shit.
Yeah.
Mainly just shit. I'll go jump in the ocean.
Yeah.
But you were at the point where you were going poopy at the Whole Foods. And I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
My bowel system just closes up. Talk to my mom. She'll tell you all about it.
Anyway, so we're trying to, have the basic necessities taken care of at the house. And Sean goes, okay, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to turn on the water. This is like 11:30 p.m., by the way. And he's like, keep your eye on the drip. Tell me if it drips. And, then we'll have to turn it off again. So I'm keeping an eye on it, and he turns it on. So I hear the water activate, and all of a sudden I am getting wait, where was he? Down. He was outside. So the water turn off thing is out front. Okay. And so I'm in the garage.
Is that how that works?
I don't know. At this house, I'm
I don't know anything about houses and about hot water heaters and water turn. Is that? Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. This house is also very interesting. Just the layout. It doesn't always make sense. But anyway, so I'm in the garage. He goes, tell me if it's leaking. And he's outside, by the way. So I'd have to run out and yell at him. It's leaking.
How was he? Did you guys have a plan for how you were going to?
Yeah, he had the window open, and I was going to run out to the window if it was leaking. But it wasn't supposed to be dramatic. It was just going to be leaking a little bit. And I'd come out and be like, hey, it's leaking. So he turns on the water. All of a sudden, I am being shot like a hose is going off and hitting me. I'm in my pajamas. I'm barefoot. I'm getting literally hosed down, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst leak I've ever seen.
Well, so and the hot water heater is in
in his office.
In his office.
So I'm in his office in the garage.
It's flooding his office now.
Just getting blasted by water, yelling like, it's leaking, it's leaking. So then the dogs start freaking out. The dogs are barking. Meanwhile, he cannot hear me. So I'm like running out. I'm like, it's leaking, it's leaking. Finally, he hears me and he hears me saying like, it's bad, it's bad. And he's like, that's weird. Like, it shouldn't be bad. Like, it was just a little drip. So he like runs out and I am just soaking wet and like tracking water into the house, yelling, like running to get him. And we just start like losing our minds laughing because we realized that there was like a little like hose, like a little spout on the outside of the water heater that was supposed to be turned off that was somehow turned on. So it was literally just shooting water out. And so it wasn't the leak, it was still leaking. So, but it wasn't that bad. But we just like look at at each other. I'm soaking wet. His floor is just like inches of water. And we just started laughing because that's all you can do in that situation. And yeah, so that's how it all started, and then it never really got better. And now it's still kind of leaking, but we decided that we're just gonna make it work because we still need to be able to, live in our house like civilized humans. So yeah, did I miss anything?
Well, and I guess like we should touch on why we're making it work. Like it's because we're all like growing our businesses right now.
Yeah,
and
we're all not really we're not
just choosing to live like this.
Yeah,
we would never just choose to like
we can't
live
afford
haphazardly
to have an emergency plumber come out and
I guess plumbers are like problems. Yeah, far and few between right now. So
we're making it work. It's better than not having water at all because that was super fun. Just like living like you're camping, but in your own house.
Yeah, I was like, all right, we're gonna have to get real strategic because, yeah.
So anyway, to wrap it all up, this week I did not have water and also got a pretty bad cold. So we're on the other end of things and feeling a lot more positive. Grateful to have water. Grateful to be feeling more like myself. And yeah.
Do you have any
lessons?
Any lessons in that?
What are my lessons? Just like find gratitude, laugh when things are bad, because it's always going to be temporary. It's always going to get better, even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were talking about this stuff and how to relate it back to the content and stuff we like to talk about as far as like living an intuition-led life, and showing up on a podcast every fucking week is like, you don't realize how much it catches up with you. Like you're like, oh, what did I talk about last week? Like, what did I talk about? You know what I mean? You kind of you don't want to repeat the same thing, but at the same time, you want it all to flow together in the right way. So we're like, oh, we don't want it to be just like, here's like the shitstorm of our life. Like that's not the purpose of the podcast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with like a lot of new age, like inspirational wellness kind of content right now, I feel like wants to just bypass the earthly element that we all encounter day to day, which is just like, hi, we live on planet Earth,
just
and
the
it's
reality of it all.
This really dense place, this really like chaotic planet where like shit happens, shit goes wrong every single day for every single person at some point. And it's just basically like we have the ability to choose how we're going to react to it. Yeah. And then just to keep showing up. And like for me, I always try to bring it back to a lesson, because like I trying to find just like universal purpose and like whatever's going on or whatever we're doing to like have purpose in that, and whether it is just a fluke that it's all just happening to us and we're just in this chaotic shitstorm. But I think there is some kind of like lesson, whether it's like we were saying, like you guys had plans to, what were your plans this weekend? Like it wasn't to deal with water.
Yeah, it wasn't to slow down, essentially. It was to like, work on all these house projects, get all this stuff done. And my body was like, no. And the house was like, no.
Yeah.
So it like kind of forced me to slow down when I wasn't ready to. So yeah, sometimes things kind of like humble you, and you have to kind of take the lessons from them and just move on.
Yeah. The other thing I was talking about last week that I guess I could transition to now is is just like the watching the consistency. And what was the other word? Consistency. There's 2 specific words we used last week.
I know what you're talking about, and it's also just left my brain.
Tip of my tongue.
Not determination, but like similar energy. Like
consistency. Basically just showing up.
Yeah.
And being consistent in that and diligent in that and taking a lot more like action in my life than I have in the past year. And it's starting to like feel really good. And so I think that's like the application of finding the balance within like the feminine and masculine energies of being comfortable with the schedule again and like having to show up for certain things and to like reboot, like to feel re-inspired with Anahata Ray and kind of recreating whatever like my brand has been, like making that into something new. It sounds like fun now rather than overwhelming and like just like this thing that I like had to do. Like I want to do it, but I also think it's just because it's like we're now kind of getting to this place of being more grounded and able to
creating a sustainable schedule for ourselves too. So everything feels like doable.
Yeah, everything's starting to feel doable.
Like it's all floating, and I don't know when it's all going to happen.
So that's really satisfying. It's just like showing up for a goal, or it's not even yourself. And I think we talked about that in a previous episode about showing up differently. And like, if you show up the same, what is it? Shit.
Well, if you keep showing up the same, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
So you got to show up differently
The
if you want a different
definition of
outcome.
insanity. Duh. So yeah, just showing up differently and actually seeing the outcomes. It's just like,
yeah.
I don't know. I encourage anyone who's feeling like frustrated within their own life or like whatever's going on, use the place that you're at as like fuel under your butt, like light a little fire under your tushy and know that like you have the action steps to get out of that place. And I think I've done that so many other times before. I'm just like, I'm now in this place of like, okay. And that was the whole purpose of us moving in together, was like to start the podcast, to like get back on track with all these things.
Yeah.
So now
have a consistent schedule instead of seeing each other like once a month and cramming it all in.
Yeah. Or even like with the studio, it was like, that was super fun, but that was just like soul sucking at the same time. And I think that's like super hard for me to say because I want it to seem like, oh, it was perfect. And like, it was,
we
like
were trying to do too much.
Yeah. I remember literally in January 2020, before everything was like, what are we going to do to like transition out of this? Like, I was thinking that I didn't want to acknowledge it. I didn't want to like really look into that because that was terrifying to think about. But then the pandemic hit and everything flipped upside down.
Forced break. Sometimes the universe just steps in and shakes things up and forces you to.
Well, and both of us felt like we were hitting like a glass ceiling with the space. Like it was so amazing and it fed us for so long with what we needed. But then as far as like where we wanted to go, like the next step, the next level of things, like we couldn't simultaneously invest our time and energy into like this project and that.
Yeah.
And at this point, like we were hosting workshops that could hold like 10 people max. And we were like, we've always just been really inspired to hold space for more people. So now we're at this place. So I think
we can hold space for an unlimited amount of people, which is so fucking cool.
It is so exciting.
Yeah.
But it's also weird, like feeling a little left out in the community back home.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this, but when we went to SLO last time, it was really interesting because we felt so a part of it. And going back was like, so many things had changed. We didn't know so many people. Like it's like a breakup and your ex is just like completely moved on and you're like, okay, that's cool. I'm fine. It's all right. Like,
I know, but we chose to leave.
Yeah. And I'm glad we did. It's just
best
so bittersweet.
Case scenario. Like, best case scenario with the studio being in new hands now and it's still alive and well.
Yeah.
But it's also like this bittersweet thing where you like
Yeah.
see their content pop up and you're like, oh my god, that was mine. Like, but that's not mine. But it was mine, but it's not. But it was, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, Danielle bought those pillows. Wait. Like, and you know, because they purchased a lot of things like
it has
keep
new
in the
life,
studio.
which is really exciting. It looks really good.
But it's so
Yeah.
funny, like watching the videos and be like, that was mine. Oh, that was mine. But then you
Yeah.
just have to remind yourself, like, it has a new life now. Like I can't say it enough, like best case scenario. Like it would have been so much more gut wrenching to have to clear it all out and
yeah.
it to be empty.
Yeah.
So it's basically just an ego check. Like it's not yours. Hey, guess what? Is anything really ours? Not really. Because everything is temporary.
Everything is temporary. That's been my big lesson last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Things get uncomfortable. At least it's all temporary.
It is.
Yeah.
All
Even
feelings
the
are
negative
fleeting.
stuff, the positive stuff, unfortunately. But that's why you got to appreciate it while you have it and then find something else to get excited about,
Yeah.
which we are.
Yeah. And I think also recognizing like there's so many other aspects of life you can look at. And like with astrology, we touch on that sometimes. And like we're both deep into our Saturn return right now. So I'm very much aware that our life in the universe is like reconstructing where we need to be to go to the next place. So I'm just being patient and being a team player. And I'm like, all right, sounds good. I'll just post this video of swamp cooler content.
See what happens.
While I'm waiting.
Yeah, worst thing you can do in your Saturn return is fight it. So you gotta just like let the current take you away to wherever it wants to go.
Literally, let it rebirth you into
And then
whatever
find
it is.
yourself on the other side.
Whatever you become, just embrace it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm grateful for it all. Hashtag grateful. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag wouldn't change a thing. Don't know where else I would be in life, but man, oh man. Yeah, people starting businesses.
So much. It's so weird to see Slows just changing so much.
I know.
It's so weird. It's going to be weird to go back next time.
Yeah.
And just, see it all. But I'm excited.
You're going back soon.
Hmm?
So you're going back pretty soon, right?
Yeah. I don't know how much I'll be able to like really like spend just like wandering around and soaking it all in because I'm going to be super busy. But yeah, it's weird to go back because I stay with my parents, obviously. And I don't know if anyone experiences this, but I've never really been this far away from home. And so going back kind of puts me in a little bit of a negative spiral because I'm like convinced myself that I'm like going backwards, even though I'm not. But it just like puts you like backwards
kind of like,
in time almost.
I feel like kind of what we were saying, filling the negative experience with the positive. Like you have done that though. Like that's where you went after your last breakup was like you moved out of that space and you moved in with them for a little bit. So I think your body like knows that.
Yeah.
So it almost
it's like a weird like feels like I'm like reverting back.
And you're like, no. This is just a visit. I'm not living here.
Yeah.
You're not moving back in. You're just staying for a little bit.
I know it's weird, but my parents are actually low-key moving to Monterey, which is like an hour away from us. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that just like plays into the dynamic of being up north.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice to have them closer for you.
I think so too.
Because you're an only child. And like you said, like you've never lived outside of like San Luis Obispo County. So, just having family close and being family oriented is always a good thing.
Totally. But it's like the perfect amount of time because it's like an hour. So they can't pop over like, once a week, but closer than 3 hours, which they are now. So yeah, that'll be super interesting.
That'll be nice. My mom comes on Tuesday. Susan, not Suzanne. I was just being fun with the way I was saying it. Susan Nicholson will be in Santa Cruz on
Has she
Tuesday.
seen the house yet?
No, that's why I was like, let's get the front yard looking as good as we can.
Our front yard needs a little bit of love.
Because Susan will tell you how she feels real quick. She made me, so
not afraid to voice her.
She's also a Sagittarius like Danielle. She takes some kind of like spiritual ownership that I found my business partner is also, or I think she's just very proud that like I'm attracted to a similar energy to her probably.
Yeah. Even though her and I are super different, which is really funny.
You are, but I think when you're comfortable and when you're in your zone, like your Sagittarius, like definitely matches hers. I think you're kind of Aquarius moon, kind of you're like set back in the beginning.
Yeah. I'm very standoffish at first.
Yeah. And Susan is not. She's the best. She's from Santa Cruz. So yeah, so that'll be fun. That's why it was really cool me moving here and I'm really just this past year, I guess, was really tapping into like a lot of ancestral healing and people who have passed on, and like so much of my family is from Santa Cruz. So it's really funny, like moving back here and us both being drawn here. We didn't really choose it. It's where Danielle's boyfriend's house was, and that was the availability for where we could live. So we were like, amazing, great.
But it always blows my mind that also your boyfriend works in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So that worked out. And then, your family is from here.
Yeah.
So it's all so divine how we all kind of like ended up in this little vortex.
It's very synchronistic. Like it's very intuitive. And that's why you have to just trust that it's like the next place for us both to go out of San Luis Obispo. And just move to this new magical place, which it is. It's like such a different vibe, but just still so cool. And yeah, like the dispensary that I go to it's Santa Cruz. So there's 500, not really a good amount of them. But like probably, I mean, Sean would know the exact number probably. Yeah. I don't know. There's a shit ton around here.
Yeah.
But of course I intuitively because I'm very much just based on like vibes and like, when I Google dispensary, which name is appealing to me? And so anyway, I look it up and Treehouse. I'm like, ooh, fun. I like that name. I go there. And yeah, I had this great experience, whatever. That's literally just where I've gone since I've moved here. And then I was talking to my mom one day and she's like, oh, by the way, your uncle, her brother was telling her that a dispensary in Santa Cruz, one of the dispensaries used to be my grandparents' house. And that's the dispensary
so fucking crazy
that I like intuitively chose to go to. Yeah. And so I've just been going there for like 4 or 5 months now, whenever I need my little
and we get to treat. When I go with her, it's so fun because it's like a drive-through, which is really dope. Also, you it's like getting your little morning Starbucks. You just like type it into your phone and go through the
I don't go there every morning, by the way. No.
Neither do I. But when I go with her, it's so fun because before you go through the drive-through, it's the house. Yeah. Like it's a literal house, and then there's like kind of like and then they built like the warehouse in front. Yeah, but it's like so. When she told me that, it's like so fun. Like we go visit the little house.
Yeah, I feel like their spirit is there because they're both passed on, and I'm like, you can't make that shit up. Like you can't make that shit up. Like especially when we first moved here, we didn't have much going for us. Like when you move to a new place, and there's that TikTok audio that like talks about like basically like, is it about specifically moving where it's like you move to a new place and you're like, what am I supposed to do? And the universe is like, that's the beauty of it. What do you want to do? But it's like almost uncomfortable having this much space,
so much like opportunity, but you don't even know where to start.
There's so much newness.
I know.
And so it's funny that was one of like the first things that
this is where I feel comfortable. Get to smoke a joint with my ancestors.
Wait, but that is so
that's me. Like your dream though.
That is so me, though.
So you.
Wait, that's hilarious.
That's like the epitome of like who you are.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's my little wraparound intuitive moment.
Little magic moment.
Because I was trying to figure out what my magic moment was for this episode, and
I didn't have any magic moments.
There it was.
But that's okay.
You didn't?
I mean, not that anything was bad. There's nothing like super magical. Like, wow. Just like learning to find gratitude, all these positive things.
Yeah.
And
like I said, and I think that goes hand in hand with, we were talking about this at some point earlier too. Or I guess I can just give a little summary. I was listening to a podcast. I forget the author's name, but basically he is very well known, and he's talked about, he's written on multiple topics, and he's in his older years. He's older. And basically he's to the point now where people can he'll listen to what people want him to speak on or write about. And so one of them was like, people were really interested with death. And so he was like, well, he wanted to write about the sublime, which was really interesting. And like this like blissful state, like how do you achieve it? When do we reach it? And one of the things he wrote about, like specifically in the book, was near-death experiences or death. Like that's when you have like this sublime, like none of us know what that experience is going to be like on the other side.
Yeah.
And then he has a stroke while he's writing the book and
has a near-death experience.
And it was just, he articulated, like, when you're creating things in the world, be aware of what you're calling in. He's like, I didn't intentionally do that, but he's also like, I'm not going to ignore the fact that, and it's very witchy to like think this way, but if you think about the word like spelling, like you're literally creating a spell for the universe. You're using your words to articulate in frequency what you want to manifest into the future.
Yeah.
So if this man's writing about and articulating and putting himself in the frequency of a near-death experience, it's like, that's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
So also I kind of apply that to us. Like, okay, if we really, dove headfirst into this like intuitive life, it's almost like, not that we're asking for it, but on some level it's like, trust, keep trusting, because you and I are like, okay, so we got rid of our studio, we moved, and we have all these other like external circumstances that like are affecting us in different ways. Not necessarily like bad, but it's just different. It's just a situation we didn't think we were going to end up in, but that's the beauty of life. You never know where you're going to end up, you know?
Forever saying that I'm learning to be comfortable and not uncomfortable so I can teach other people. So called that one in on myself. Can't complain.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about these uncomfortable
so now it's
situations.
Like what? Yeah. So it's like how do we conjure that so the frequency is like, but you need your golden nugget,
Yeah.
With the lesson.
Yeah.
But that's just I was listening to this, I heard this somewhere else too. They were talking about how the law of attraction is actually just the law of karma. And I was like, whoa, it like hit me in the face. And I was like so obvious. I don't know why I've never heard it articulated that way, but it's like, that's the same idea with karma. What you give out is what you receive. Like, don't do weird shit. I don't want to say bad. It's just like, don't do weird shit out in the world or weird shit's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying like, and then it can just go so deep because then you can victimize yourself and be like, well, why is this happening to me? Like, I would have never chosen this for myself, or I haven't done anything. It's like there's so much about the human experience we don't know about. Like this could be like past life karma. Like, I don't know if you've heard about that, but which is like, oh God.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much you can get into of like where everything is coming from and why it happens. And we can just like kind of scratch the surface of like some of these things. But
well, and I think it's just like, you don't want to like get stuck in the 4D black hole, rabbit hole of it all, of just like getting obsessed with the weirdness of life. Like on some level, you have to like pop back out onto the 5D. Ooh, we need to talk about
we should
dimensions.
3D, 5D. Let's talk about it next week.
Okay. Well, Danielle's actually, okay, so we were talking about how you're going out of town. So we're going to be recording some batches of episodes. So
that'll be one of them.
This will be fresh on our brain to talk about.
I'm down.
Because I definitely really want to articulate like how you can get stuck in that weird place, that weird rabbit hole place of like where all the muckiness of existence is, you know what I mean? And then that, on the other side of it, you like pop out on 5D where it's just like what you were saying, you're like, you could scratch the surface where we're scratching the surface, where we could dive in, but really like, what's the point of that? Because none of your past lives don't really matter. I mean, it's interesting. And if you find it interesting and entertaining, that's one thing. Yeah. But don't obsess over it.
And don't let it necessarily affect your life and your decisions.
Because it all comes back to being here now. Like,
being present.
If you're not present, then like, what is life?
Yeah. What's the point?
So obsessing about your past lives, it's like, I was explaining it to, because I want to talk about dimensions, because we talk about people sometimes. Like there's certain people that exude like 5D energy. And I was talking to my friend who really exudes 5D energy. And she was like, okay, that's cool. But like, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about like just being here in this life. And I was like,
so profound.
damn, girl, like drop the mic and walk away. Like what? Yeah. Why am I obsessing about past lives and not this life? But all with non-judgment, just observation of like, okay, I'm going to shift that a little bit. I'm going to just be like super stoked on being Savannah and
being here right now, not trying to figure everything out. Yeah. But
and what's Savannah going to do tonight? I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to make dinner.
She's on dinner duty.
Yeah. Danielle and I, we switch off dinner. She made breakfast for dinner last night.
I did.
It's delicious. And I'm making Buddha bowls.
Ooh.
We eat Buddha bowls probably.
That's our go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's honestly.
You can't not love a Buddha bowl.
And the name is just so nourishing and healing alone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's going to be delicious. We're going to make refried beans, like from the bean.
Like
hard
raw
beans out of the
beans.
bag. Soak them. What do you call them? Cook them. Blend them.
I hope you know how to cook them if you're cooking them.
I know what to do. It's Dylan's recipe, but I'll be the sous chef. And then we're doing a cabbage slaw. Ooh. I know that pushes Sean's boundaries.
Mr. Sean is a little bit on the picky side. So am I, but I feel like he's worse. I feel like I'm more open-minded than he is.
And then I make a delicious cashew cheese sauce, which we just douse the entire thing with. So if you don't like something, you just cover it with cashew cheese sauce.
And you just eat sauce.
And you just eat sauce.
The more sauce, the better. That's what we always say.
Yeah. And then make sausage. I have one veggie sausage for you in the freezer that I need to pull out actually after that episode. Anyway, we can talk about this later.
Letting you guys know what we're doing for the rest of the day. We're going to film some content.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
All right. Little worker bees now.
Yeah.
No days off, but like in a sustainable way. Anyway, well, we're gonna wrap it up. I think we could keep talking for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it at that. We have couple days from now, we have the episode picked out that we're going to talk about. So that's exciting. 3D, 5D energy.
And I guess for you guys listening, it's all just going to be happening like on a weekly basis. So don't get excited. You're not getting like a bunch of episodes.
You don't get it early.
No. Oh my gosh, that'd be exhausting. Also, did anyone listen to the Call Her Daddy episode a couple weeks ago where she did it vlog style? I think Danielle and I need to go on a trip and do it vlog style because
that'd be super fun.
It would be super entertaining.
We need to get my immune system boosted up before I try and go out in public places again.
Or just go places where it's just you and I, because that's my vibe. I'm like people maybe from like a distance, but no, like one dance party a weekend is like my vibe. Yeah, we'll find somewhere. I've never been to Joshua Tree.
Yeah. It's very far from here.
And it's really hot right now.
It's, oh my God. It's like 100 and like 10, 15, 20. Crazy.
My friend Brittany's going there like next week. I didn't think about that.
As long as you stay in like a house, you should have AC. So you just stay inside.
Okay. Well,
and then you go in the.
We'll plan something for later.
Yeah.
We'll all right, world. Brains. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing well. I love you. Life is good.
Thanks for tuning in, listening to
Oh my gosh, Danielle and I were talking about church once.
Oh gosh.
A long time ago. We were talking about church.
Because obviously we're pretty spiritual people, so it makes sense that we used to be like
attracted
super into church.
Christianity.
Yeah, because you're looking for we experimented with that first.
You're looking for the high vibes and you're like, who are these people loving God? And then you're like, whoa.
And things get a little judgy. That was the last straw for me. Things got a little judgy.
Yeah.
People.
They told me to stop questioning and I was like, why?
Yeah. My pastor said something kind of off color about gay people and I was like, ooh, I think I'm done. I think I'm done here. That. I don't like that. That's rude. But anyway, we talked about our favorite part about church and like youth group was when everyone would sing because it's so like chanting, singing, like so high vibe.
throat chakra just
Yeah.
on point. Yeah.
And we randomly started singing like
The same song.
church song. We like knew all the words. We're like,
5, 6.
Oh, I'm not singing right now.
Our God is an awesome God he reigns. Okay,
anyway,
from heaven above with
we'll do like a
power and
karaoke
love.
episode.
Our God is an awesome God.
Thank you, Savannah, for that beautiful.
I know there's like so many people who got so excited in their car listening to that, and they're like, I know that song. Because if you and I both just started singing that song randomly,
yeah,
that song has some high vibes.
It kind of slaps. I'm not gonna lie.
Kanye can make a remix to that.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a whole nother episode. Why Savannah loves Kanye.
Yeah. We can't say Savannah used to say that I was the Kim to her Kanye, but we can't really say that anymore, unfortunately.
Well, man. Well, okay, Danielle's, she's the Kim to my Kanye circa 2018.
Yeah.
Or what was the music the music video where she's on the motorcycle with him?
Oh, I've never seen that.
I think it was Bound to.
I don't know.
I'll show you.
Yeah, just show
I'll
me.
educate you on some Kanye content.
So we're on a motorcycle together. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, you definitely have to show that to me.
Yeah, you're sitting on my lap, which is great.
We don't do that in real life. We're not very touchy-feely people.
No, Danielle and I rarely touch. That's something we can work on. I keep saying that and then I don't hug you. I'm like, I need to work on hugging, and then I don't touch her.
When we were talking about feminine and masculine, and we were talking about how our big realization was when we met two women who were really in their feminine and we were really in our masculine. I forgot the big thing was like they were like really good about like hugging and touching and like being intertwined, and Savannah and I are like not touching. It's like, oh, that's scary. We don't touch.
I don't even.
We just were raised that way. She's touching my knee with her finger.
And my hand is on
I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Danielle's an only child.
Uh-huh.
I'm not an only child. My sister does not like to be touched. Like,
see, I feel like it has to be like a family thing, or like my friends growing up were not touchy. So like my best friend and I were never touchy. So I feel like that's why growing up with friends, I'm like, oh, we don't touch. We don't like, we'll hug. Like I'll hug if a friend comes in, but I'm not like cuddly, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
No, I know. I'm like in deep thought thinking about my past with my friendships. I'm like, Briella, she's like my childhood friend.
Are you guys touchy?
She's so cuddly. She's Little Miss Cuddle.
It takes like a person to be cuddly, I feel
so
like.
she comes into my space, or Kelly Edwards. She like will sit on my lap, and I'm like, oh, hello, little one. Because she's so tiny that it's so cute. But if I just start sitting on people's laps, like
if I sat on your lap,
the two girls who are like 5'9", we're like, hello.
Yeah, we're large humans.
We do it in front of our boyfriends. They're like, what are you guys doing? Like, why is my girlfriend sitting on your lap? This is what we do now.
Yeah. You guys can cuddle with each other. We'll cuddle with,
oh my God,
with each other.
UFC vibes.
Yeah.
Men. I can't get that out of my head. Like when you were describing it, you were like, attractive men in little outfits. They're so buff and they're wrestling.
They're so fit.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, I love watching it. I'm like, it literally sounds like someone describing.
I told Sean that, and he wasn't a big fan of that.
What's the show? Oh,
Takeaway.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know. What was the show? Sex Life?
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That sounds like, it kind of sounds like you were describing that when you were talking about UFC fighting. Why you like it is like why people like watching Sex Life. Did we talk about that on the podcast yet? The big schlong in episode 3?
Has anyone seen Sex Life is it on Netflix?
Yeah,
I think so. It's we just like watching it because we like kind of making fun of how outrageous it is, but also
and we were in the mountains and desperate for entertainment. So we were like, what's this show about?
It's like very dramatic and very like unrealistic when it comes to like what real sex is like, but it's just super funny to watch. And then someone shows their very large
share dong. Your gossip. Yeah, large dong, episode 3.
She wants me to share the gossip about these actors, but I don't know any of their names, so it's not going to be entertaining to listen to.
Fine. So basically, if you've seen,
I'm like that one actor was with that one actor, and then now they're together. And everyone's
but like, the main characters are together now.
Yeah,
and they weren't before.
Yeah,
and the woman who the main character, her husband, her ex-husband, is the hella hot guy from Shameless.
Yeah, she's doing well for herself as far as
so she's just going from hot man to even hotter man.
Yeah,
and I'm like, get it, girl.
Big schlong to even bigger schlong. Living her best life.
100%. We're not making that like, that's not us just fishing for, we're not just assuming, okay? It was front and center, full screen. Check it out if you're interested.
It's an entertaining show.
I don't know how, like, Netflix, very interested on like who came up with the concept of that show. And it's like, you know what the internet and the world needs?
Softcore porn for women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like,
on Netflix.
In their 30s.
Yeah.
Who have kids. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
I only got to episode 3 though.
Yeah, we never went further than that's all you really need to see.
I could never sit down and watch that with my significant other. I was watching, Heather McMahon was talking about it on her stories and her Instagram stories, and she was like, I was watching it with Jeff. I was like, or I think I heard somewhere else, someone was like, ooh, watch it with your partner. It'll be super like foreplay, sexy time. And I'm like, this show is so goddamn cheesy.
Yeah.
I can't. And unrealistic.
Yeah.
Dylan would just stare at me like,
is this what you want? Because this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're not doing this.
Oh my God.
This is not how this works.
All right. Let's not
We're
talk
gonna
about our
sign
sex
off.
lives right now.
Thanks for
Before we start
sticking
talking
around.
about that, we'll get off. All right. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye. We remembered.
Bye. I didn't.